So, Dergo. Dergo. For those of you who are regular viewers of my VRChat skits, you may already know that Dergo, my boyfriend in those skits, is now dead. And if you didn't already know that, then spoiler alert. But yeah, Dergo is no more, and the biggest question you probably have for me is why? Why did I write his character out the way I did? There are so many ways to get rid of a character, but why did I choose such a tragic demise for Dergo? I'll get to that in a bit. So, the big question, why did I get rid of him? Well, simply put, I wasn't feeling him as a character anymore, so I wanted to write him out of the script. When I wrote him into the script, I imagined him being a permanent character, but it turns out that my initial inspiration for having him as a character were fleeting at best. I mean, let's face it, Dergo was very hot, and I had a crush on his avatar. Part of the reason I brought him on. Also, the idea of JK having, a rather big boy for a boyfriend. I admit, I caved into fantasy a little bit. But then those limerent thoughts had went away, and I decided, you know what, I really don't want this character anymore. As bad as it sounds. Now, again, there are so many ways you could write a character out of a script. But the way I see it, it boils down to two basic approaches. One, you can do it the quick and easy way. He won't appear anymore, just write him out, maybe make some sort of mention or side mention that, like this or that happened, and he's gone. That's it. Or there's the more involved method. Clearly, that is the approach I took. So, if I'm going to kill off a character, their death is not going to be in vain. Not in vain, you say. Well, how? Here's how. The way in which I wrote Dergo out of the storyline made for a perfect opportunity for a public service announcement or reminder to those of us in real life. And that reminder was to don't text and drive. Now sure, maybe Dergo wasn't behind the wheel of a large automobile, but just like the message at the very end of my Absolutely Curtains video, if in a world where dragons do exist and there's still the technology such as cell phones, then there's the possibility that a dragon might be flying and texting at the same time. He wasn't paying attention. He flew right into that rotary engine of the plane. His carelessness in that moment destroyed him. And why the texting and driving PSA? Well, to be honest, I see it all the time on the roads here, and it's a pet peeve of mine. It really sickens me just how much people out there don't care, that they are willing to put themselves and others' lives at risk just so that they could send that message or read the one they just received. It's not right. Now, in a manner of full disclosure, I didn't know anyone personally who died from texting and driving. Perhaps I'm lucky in that sense. However, I do know several people who lost someone close to them from texting and driving. So in that secondhand sense, I do know it's a problem. And so the way I ended Dergo serves as a reminder about that. So if you're texting and driving, hopefully my previous video will have served as a reminder to perhaps reconsider doing that. If my video has somehow indirectly helped save one life, then my job is done. Oh, and before I forget, did you know that in the United States, roughly 3,200 people die from texting and driving every year? 3,200 people. That's my hometown plus a couple hundred every single year. Now, in my research as a Canadian, I can't find any quantified data as to how many people die per year in Canada due to texting and driving. However, there are some provinces that indicate it's actually higher than those who die from drunk driving. So when did I decide to get rid of Dergo? I started thinking that back around early March of 2025. And I'll admit, part of what inspired how I was going to get rid of Dergo was based on real life events occurring, especially in the earlier part of this year, 2025, when we saw in the news a number of commercial plane crashes and emergency landings. Like, there was a wave of that going on. You probably remember that. So I will admit, that kind of inspired the idea of how I was going to get rid of Dergo. You still might be asking, JK, he didn't have to die. You could have written him off some other way. Yes, I could have, but this is how I chose to do it. I mean, as fictitious as the storyline is, I try to keep it at least somewhat realistic. And one of those realistic elements, or I guess I should say realities, is that life as a whole is very unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen the next day. It could be bad. It could be good. But you're never going to know. You can do your best to make each day better than the last and to control the things that you reasonably can in order to attain a good outcome. But there are still some things in life that you cannot control. And Dergo's death highlights that. You never know when tragedy is going to strike, and that is one of the realities of this great big package that we call life. So it's not just about the texting and driving reminder, and to not do that. If anything, I also hope that that Absolutely Curtains video will encourage you to try making each day a little bit better for yourself. I mean, as naive as we can all be about this, myself included, by trying not to think about this, it's the fact that tragedy, by necessity, serves as a reminder to us of what is good and important to us in life. I do apologize for the lecture. I can really get into the moment sometimes. But yeah, I guess the final thing I want to say is I don't plan on killing any other characters, although I guess I can't fully rule it out. After all, when I brought Dergo in as a character, I planned on him being permanent. I didn't plan on killing him off, but I had a change of heart. But yeah, I don't plan on turning the storyline into something continuously morbid. There's going to be more positive things to come, clearly evident by the fact that things have kind of hit rock bottom for several of the characters in the storyline at this time. Things can only really get better from here. Or will they? Stay tuned and find out. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about Dergo and why I did what I did to him. Bit of a different video today, but hey, there are more videos to come. Anyway, you stay fluffy, stay classy, stay alive, and don't text and drive. Cheers!